Throughout all of humanity, there have been big questions that we ask ourselves. But one of the biggest questions is, am I happy with my life? In Emily Asfahani Smith's book, The Power of Meaning, she details that in order to live a happy and meaningful life, one can find such a life by way of living every day in accordance to the 4 pillars. In this video, I want to go over those 4 pillars and how they relate to the characters in Naruto and how their impact on Naruto as a person has led to him living a meaningful and happy life. This is the tale of Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto Uzumaki, the orphan child of the 4th Hokage and the former Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. He had a rough childhood, to say the least. He was neglected, mistreated, and looked down upon by everyone in the place that he called home. He was viewed as a monster even though he was just a child. Naruto acted out and desperately wanted attention from those around him, eventually finding companionship in people like Iruka, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke. The number of those who believed in him grew more and more till he eventually fulfilled his lifelong dream of becoming Hokage. Naruto lived a great life, but it came with several hardships and lessons to be learned from those around him. In the book The Power of Meaning, the 4 pillars are listed as such: belonging, being appreciated for who we are; purpose, our ability to make a difference; storytelling, the narrative that we create for ourselves; and transcendence, the ability to look beyond. After rewatching Naruto, I noticed that there are many characters in Naruto's life that distinctly embody these pillars, both in their own life and how they affected Naruto as a person. Starting with belonging, there are many characters that accepted Naruto for who he really is, not as the Nine-Tails, but as Naruto Uzumaki, a shinobi of the leaf. Iruka acting as his father figure, always believing in him and encouraging him; Kakashi, the lifelong mentor and the one that watched over him even before he was born; and Sasuke, Naruto's best friend, rival, and counterpart. They all knew who the real Naruto was, the hyperactive knucklehead who didn't know when to give up. But for this pillar, I think one character has a unique position in Naruto's life that is often overlooked, and that is Gaara, the former One-Tailed Jinchuriki and the 5th Kazekage. Gaara represents the pillar of belonging, being appreciated and accepted for who we are. Gaara and Naruto are the 2 sides of the coin that can determine the fate of a Jinchuriki, one side finding peace and a happy life with those around you, or resigning oneself to darkness, being viewed as a demon only focusing on harboring hatred for those around you. This was the fate of Gaara up until he met Naruto. Gaara of the Sand spent his early childhood as nothing less than a weapon. He was a key factor during the attack on the Leaf Village during the Konoha Crush arc, and main characters like Shikamaru and Kiba feared him and knew that with one wrong step against Gaara, they would be murdered. The reason why Gaara represents belonging is found in his character growth after his battle with Naruto. As a child, Gaara was neglected by his father, nearly assassinated by his uncle, and treated like a threat by his home. He didn't really value his relationship with his brother and sister, and repeated the mantra to only love himself, left behind by his mother, who died after he was born. After Gaara's battle with Naruto, they both lie bloodied on the ground, broken and beaten senseless. And as Naruto slowly inches towards Gaara with what little strength he has left, he details the sense of loneliness that they both shared. They both shared the same darkness, but Naruto was rescued from that darkness and loneliness by his friends and teachers. To Naruto, Gaara represented someone who could fully understand the pain he went through as a child, the glare that he got from children and adults alike, being seen as nothing more than a burden that should just drop dead, both crying the same tears of loneliness. Later in life, they both found a sense of belonging with those around them. The Hidden Sand Village accepted Gaara for who he was and named him Kazekage, and Naruto became the hero of the Hidden Leaf Village. During the Kazekage rescue mission, when Naruto finally comes to terms with Gaara's death, he breaks down, reprimanding the Sand Village for making him a Jinchuriki, and saying how it was unfair to label them as monsters with a word of their own creation.
You shut up! Just shut up! If all of you Sand Shinobi hadn't put a monster inside of Gaara, then none of this would have ever happened to him! Did you ever even consider how Gaara felt? Did you ever even ask? Calling us Jinchuriki. What gives you the right to label us? Who are you to decide someone else's fate?
Naruto sheds tears for the only person in the world that could begin to comprehend the sadness and suffering he endured as a child. The next pillar is the pillar of storytelling. The story that one tells about themselves and how they choose to tell it. Storytelling is taking your life experiences and creating a cohesive narrative that details your life. You can be someone who wasted their whole life doing nothing till they found something to keep them busy, or you could be someone who was lost until they found something in life that made it worth living and kept them moving forward. To understand this pillar and how it relates to Naruto, we must first recount
the tale of Jiraiya the Gallant.
Jiraiya was a pervert, but first and foremost, he was one of the greatest ninja of the shinobi world, one of the legendary Sannin and the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. The tale of Jiraiya was known worldwide, though most know him because of Makeout Paradise. Jiraiya in his early years was nothing special. Compared to his peers, he was average at best, and the only thing he really had going for him were his guts and his invention of the transparent escape jutsu. While learning the summoning jutsu, he accidentally reverse summoned himself to Mount Myoboku. While training at the mountain, he learns to redirect his life, going from someone who wanted to become strong just to impress pretty girls, to a man who wanted to find his destiny and search for the child of prophecy, as stated by the Elder Toad. His travels eventually led him to the Hidden Rain orphans Konan, Yahiko, and Nagato. He spent several years with them, helping them learn ninjutsu to protect themselves, and one day he finds out that Nagato possessed the Rinnegan, and at that moment he believed that Nagato was the child of prophecy. Years later, Jiraiya finds out that the three orphans that once called him master had died during the Third Great Ninja War. Jiraiya continues on with his search and is eventually led to Naruto Uzumaki. The name was given to Naruto by the late 4th Hokage after the main character of Jiraiya's book, Tales of a Gutsy Ninja. He becomes his mentor and begins to train Naruto, the legacy of Minato. Jiraiya, the pillar of storytelling, taught Naruto to choose his own fate and the will to continue on his and Minato's legacy through both the Rasengan and his goal for the future, to deal with the cycle of hatred in the world. Jiraiya could have stayed the perverted loser he used to be, but he chose to tell his own story. The tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. The next pillar is one of purpose. Purpose is our ability to make a difference in the lives of others. When we think of our purpose in life, we often think it's to find something that makes us happy. But as Emily Esfahani Smith describes it in her book, it's not about what you want, but what you give. To be human is to be more than someone who thinks only of themselves, but someone who is willing to put others first. In the story of Naruto, no other character was willing to sacrifice his reputation, the love of his family, and the safety of his home. No character was more human than Itachi Uchiha. Itachi Uchiha, the prodigy of the Uchiha clan, lived his life just simply being known as the best. Awakening the Sharingan at 7, made captain of the Anbu Black Ops at 13, and awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan at 15 and slaughtered the Uchiha clan shortly afterwards. One would look at Itachi and question what his purpose was. He murdered his own clan and aided the Akatsuki in hunting down Jinchuriki. We later learn in the story of Naruto that Itachi was one of the true heroes of the Hidden Leaf, that shouldered its burdens and bore the mark of traitor till the day he died. Itachi's true purpose was, and always will be, to protect Sasuke. The Uchiha clan had always been mistreated by the Hidden Leaf village. Even going back to when the village was founded, they were treated as lessers instead of equals. For generations of the Hidden Leaf, the Uchiha were shoved out and likened to criminals, even though they made efforts to build trust with the village. When the Uchiha had planned to stage a coup against the Leaf, their leader Fugaku Uchiha, Itachi's father, wanted him to act as a spy so they could keep tabs on the higher-ups in the village. Itachi didn't agree with the coup and instead acted as a double agent. The third Hokage wanted to peacefully find a solution to the conflict, as did Itachi. By the order of Danzo, Itachi was given an ultimatum: to side with his clan and die along with them, or to carry out the Uchiha massacre and side with the village. Itachi's purpose as a big brother was always to protect Sasuke. He chose to murder his clan in exchange for Sasuke's survival. Itachi's other motive for doing so was to prevent Sasuke from hating the village and to foster all of Sasuke's anger and hatred towards him, as a means to protect him. For years, Itachi bore the mark of a traitor and shouldered all the hate of the Uchiha, all for the sake of his life's purpose: to protect his little brother that he loved dearly. Itachi had a massive impact on Naruto, entrusting him with his goal to protect Sasuke and reinforcing his goal to become Hokage, reminding him that just because he gained new powers doesn't mean he has to do everything alone. Itachi's downfall was that he tried to do everything on his own. He didn't want that to happen to Naruto, telling him that Minato was a great Hokage because he had Kushina beside him. Naruto was trying to end the war on his own when he really needed to rely on others. Naruto didn't become Hokage to get others to accept him, he became Hokage because others already did accept him. The final pillar is one of transcendence, our ability to look beyond ourselves. The way I interpreted this last pillar is how we view the world as a whole and not just from our own perspective. We as humans are often selfish and don't think about how our actions and choices affect others around us. In the story of Naruto, one character had a massive impact on how Naruto viewed the world. That person was the former student of Jiraiya, Nagato Uzumaki, and his 6 Paths of Pain. Nagato is a child of war. Alongside Yahiko and Konan, the 3 Rain Village orphans were all victims of the Second Great Shinobi World War. The conflict of the great nations left smaller countries in ruins and led Yahiko to create the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki's main goal was to fight against the tyranny of the great nations and bring peace. After the death of Yahiko and the influence of Obito, the Akatsuki then became a criminal organization. Nagato's ultimate goal was peace. In his philosophy, peace could only be understood by sharing pain with others. The warring great nations only knew peace that had been won through the suffering of others, and Nagato wished for all nations to know the pain of loss so that all conflict would end. Going forward, I'm going to refer to Pain and Nagato as two separate people in reference to the two different talks Naruto had with Nagato. During his discussion with Pain, Naruto was made aware of all the suffering going on outside of the Hidden Leaf Village. He was asked what his goals were after defeating Pain, and his response was to bring peace. Pain makes Naruto aware that it is unfair for the Leaf Village to preach about peace when the destruction that they felt is what happened to several other smaller nations. In the moment, Naruto was only concerned about his friends and village that had been hurt, but didn't think of the ones that had suffered worse countless times before and were never able to recover. Pain goes on to say that his goal is no different than Naruto's, to complete the goal of their late master and bring peace to the ninja world. Both want justice for the destruction caused by others. During his talk with Nagato, Naruto further cements that while he hates Nagato with all of his heart, he doesn't want to kill him because it would only continue the cycle of hatred. Through their discussion, Naruto talks about how he will never give up on his quest for peace. Because Jiraiya is no longer able to write the sequel to the Tales of a Gutsy Ninja, it is up to Naruto to lead the world to peace and finish the story he was named after. The story inspired by Nagato.
Alright then, let's bring up the man of the hour himself. The man who's about to become the 7th Hokage. The man you all know. Naruto Uzumaki!
Hey, thanks for watching my video. I wanted to talk about Naruto as a character and the people that affected him in his life a little bit because they often go overlooked. I know I missed other characters like the 3rd Hokage and Haku, but I wanted to give a spotlight to some characters I think had a larger impact on Naruto. Leave a like down below and comment what your favorite character in Naruto is, or your thoughts on my analysis. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.